morning, former President Donald Trump preparing to leave his Mar-a-Lago compound on Palm Beach, head for the airport. You see his Trump plane ready to take him to New York and tomorrow's historic court appearance. And on the sporting front, the FAU Owls return from their historic performance in the NCAA Final Four. A warm welcome home for a great group. Within the hour, we're expecting the former president to leave Mar-a-Lago for New York. There, he will become the first former president to face criminal charges. Sources close to the investigation say are related to hush money payments made to former adult film star Stormy Daniels. We have team coverage this Monday morning. We'll begin with WPTV's Derek Lowe. He's live along the Southern Boulevard Bridge where the former president's supporters have gathered to watch as he departs. Derek?
Michael, good morning. It is a hot and humid day here near Palm Beach, but that's not stopping supporters of the former president from lining here along the Southern Boulevard Bridge. You can hear as supporters scream and many drivers honk their horns going by. We are expecting the former president to depart from Mar-a-Lago just before noon today as he will head to Palm Beach International Airport and ultimately to New York. It's there he will stay the night at Trump Tower before appearing in court tomorrow afternoon just after 2 p.m. Right now, sources tell NBC News there are about 30 criminal charges related to alleged document fraud and alleged hush money payments made to film star Stormy Daniels just days before the 2016 election. The exact nature of those criminal charges will be unveiled during the arraignment on Tuesday. Trump has denied any wrongdoing in the investigation. His supporters now, as we mentioned earlier, outside of Mar-a-Lago and along the Southern Boulevard Bridge rallying behind him. Again, the former president expected to be passing through here within the hour. Of course, when that happens, we'll be sure to check back in with you and give you a first-hand look. Michael?
Thank you very much, Derek. And whether the former president will speak at PBIA before departure, not yet clear, but we'll now go to Matt Cesney. He's also live along the motorcade route, Matt. And Matt, what do you have for us at this hour?
Yeah, Michael, we are just under 2 miles from Mar-a-Lago, which is that way on Southern Boulevard. That way, about 3.5 miles, is PBI, where Donald Trump's plane is, and we assume waiting for him to get on and go to New York. But out here along Southern Boulevard, there's a pretty large crowd of Trump supporters who are acknowledging the horn honking that's going on right here at the cross street of Parker. This crowd actually got very big within the last 30 minutes, although some people had been out here as early as 6 a.m. This rally, if you will, had been advertised online as being a peaceful rally to show support for Donald Trump, and these people really hope that Donald Trump can see them as he goes by on Southern Boulevard here from Mar-a-Lago over to the airport. I got one person over here, Diane. How are you, Diane?
I'm doing well.
So where are you from? You're from this area in West Palm?
West Palm.
West Palm Beach. So why did you want to be out here today?
Well, I live close.
Yeah.
I totally support Trump. I actually support the whole conservative ticket.
Okay.
We thought it would be fun.
Okay. And what do you think of the charges in New York against the former president?
They seem like they're choosing to punish a man instead of a crime.
Okay.
Because a lot's going on in New York that's not being prosecuted.
All right, Diane, I appreciate you talking with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And be safe out here, because really these protesters are kind of just squeezed in on this sidewalk up against the 4 lanes of Southern Boulevard. So there are West Palm Beach police here to make sure everyone's safe. But so far it's been a pretty peaceful but a very loud rally as they wait for Donald Trump to come down Southern Boulevard, we think within the hour. We're live in West Palm Beach. Matt Cesney, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Matt, thank you. Of course, we'll be coming back to you as that motorcade makes its way to PBIA and a few miles west of you right now at the airport. Dave Bowman there to set the stage for us from that scene. Dave.
Right now, Michael, it appears all systems are go. At least that's what it looks like from the outside here at Palm Beach International Airport as Donald Trump's jetliner is being prepared right now. You see a few people milling around for what we assume is a preparation for a flight to New York City to face the criminal charges. Now, the plane is scheduled to take off at 11:50, but there are no guarantees. And things have changed since Donald Trump has become president. When Air Force One was coming and going virtually at the same spot. Donald Trump, the president, for security reasons, was given carte blanche to come and go as he pleased, and the airlines and the private jets would have to work around his schedule. Now the status is pretty much like everyone else, where he will have to get in line with airliners and private jets here, and if there's a delay, he moves back a little bit. Now, so far, there are 3 airlines both coming and going that have been delayed between the 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock hour. So it's possible he may not make the 11:50 takeoff time, but the delays don't appear to be severe. And right now it appears, again, as all systems are go, for the president to take off from PBIA to LaGuardia Airport in New York City and eventually to face those criminal charges. Michael, back to you.
Eric and Matt continuing to be along that route. We're going to keep, of course, reporter eyes and camera eyes on the entire route to PBI. Again, the president, if he takes off on time, expected to get to LaGuardia, as I'm joined by our News Channel 5 political analyst, Brian Crowley, and we'll continue to bring pictures up along the route. Expected to get there around 2:30 or so, head to Trump Tower, and then tomorrow morning he would head to the courthouse where he will have his picture taken. He will be fingerprinted. He'll have Secret Service with him at all times. They're trying, if it's at all humanly possible, the Secret Service and others, to keep it, quote, as low key, although that sounds almost silly to say given the gravity of what's happening here, Brian. And then around 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to appear before the judge, and in this case it's Justice Juan Merchan, who will have really the most interesting seat for the most interesting historical moment when it regards a former president. The first time ever a former president of the United States has been charged criminally. The gravity of that, speak to that, Brian, because we talk about it, and yet when tomorrow comes, the sense of that moment and its import, speak to that and frame that for our viewers, first of all.
Well, let me start with saying that, the New York City Police Department has tens of thousands of police officers, every police officer on duty tomorrow. And that image, there's something wrong with that image right there. This is not a country where we should require tens of thousands of police officers to make sure there's no violence tomorrow. And that by itself is disturbing. We're also, yes, this is a historic moment, but
as we look at the route, just by the way, keep going, Brian, we're showing you the route from Mar-a-Lago, which is really just a couple of minutes if there was no traffic during his motorcade days, but just a couple of minutes basically from there over to the airport. Go ahead.
And, and as I've said a few times, Donald Trump is a former president. He's a little C citizen. Everybody on both sides who's trying to judge this indictment doesn't know what's in the indictment. So we'll find out tomorrow afternoon. The other interesting thing is, there's sort of this expectation that until he has his press conference and gathering at Mar-a-Lago on Tuesday night, that he's going to be relatively quiet. Well, it would be astonishing to see Donald Trump go to the courthouse and drive through the streets of New York and remain relatively quiet. I suspect that he might do something tomorrow on his way to or from the courthouse to kind of let the crowd know that he's there.
As we look on at Mar-a-Lago live from Chopper 5, an exclusive look as we expect the former president to begin making his way, at least if he keeps to the schedule that sources have told multiple outlets that he will adhere to, if he keeps to that schedule, departing Mar-a-Lago just before the noon hour for a flight just after the noon hour, 12:15, 12:30 to head to LaGuardia. Brian, a couple of things. We're going to have a legal analyst, a former federal prosecutor with us in a few moments to touch on this more. It bears repeating. The allegations of hush money, paying hush money in and of itself is not a crime. This case presumably centers around the $130,000 that allegedly was given to his then lawyer fixer, Michael Cohen, who then paid that as hush money, allegedly. But then how you catalog that as a business expense or not. And that's what this revolves around. But a lot of people watching this broadcast, you're going to have those who say no one's above the law, and you're going to have others saying prosecutors have selective zeal. What about Hillary Clinton's emails? What about Hunter Biden's laptop and his business dealings? Speak to that chasm among people.
Well, sure, prosecutors have discretion. And I don't know what the indictment says.
None of us do.
I don't know specifically what's in the counts. So until I know that, I can't pass a judgment on whether or not I think the prosecutors are bringing a legit case or a political case. And we'll know tomorrow afternoon. And if it turns out that it's the wrong case, then it should be tossed out.
And one reminder that this is just the beginning of many potential legal travails. We've got the January 6th investigation where many Democrats in Congress want to see him charged there criminally. We have the classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, President Biden facing similar concerns and a similar investigation. We also have the issues in Georgia about trying to sway the vote there. There's a grand jury seated at the state level. So very briefly, we're going to be coming back to you. We'll have continuing ongoing coverage once the motorcade departs. But Brian, the landscape is unlike any other. Someone who's rallying his base now, criminal charges being used to rally your base in anticipation of your campaign next year. It's quite unlike anything we've ever seen in American politics.
Well, you know, one of the things that I've noticed that there are quite a few people that are on Southern Boulevard waiting for the former president to leave Mar-a-Lago, but it's not an extraordinary number. In fact, I find it to be a bit lower than the number of people that he would get while he was president or while he was campaigning for office. So I do wonder if there's as much excitement for him as there used to be. I guess we'll find out. But of the 1.5 million people living in Palm Beach County and the other million living in the Treasure Coast, most of them are going about their day.
10 seconds and we'll come back to you. Sink or bolster his presidential fortunes next year?
Well, I mean, one theory is that at least within the primaries, it helps.
All right, Brian, we'll be back with more on that in a moment. We're going to turn it over. As you look at Trump Tower right now, where he will be heading this night, we'll turn it over for a first look at weather. We'll be back with much more, and again, continuing coverage when the motorcade departs.